So I have printed out a 3" by 4" copy of my photo, and now I'm going to make a 1" by 1" grid over top of the photo. I line the ruler up where measurement begins. You can see the line indicated before the 0. And then at each inch, the long line after the numbers, I put a dot. You will see I will also do the same thing on the bottom of the image. Again, lining up the ruler and marking at the 1, 2, and 3" measurements. Now I will carefully connect the dots that I have made to create the first half of my grid. The next thing I have to do is measure the skinnier sides, again lining up the ruler where measurement begins and marking at the 1" and 2" marks. This side will have 3 boxes, whereas the longer side will have 4 boxes. The ruler is cut off from my video, but I am still measuring at the 1" and 2" measurements. Again, you can see I am connecting the lines. When I finish, you will see I will have 4 boxes on the long side and 3 boxes on the short side. I will be working with a 12" by 16" piece of paper. Depending on the image that you choose, your image may be landscape, like the one that I am doing, or portrait style. When I create the grid on my final drawing paper, it is very important that I press lightly. The grid that I make is meant to be completely erased. I will use a ruler and create markings at the 4", 8", and 12" measurements. This is how I will mark the top and bottom of the longer side of my drawing paper. You will notice that on the long sides of the paper, you should be able to mark at 4 inches, 8 inches, and 12 inches. Once you have created those marks at the top and bottom of the paper, use your ruler to connect your dots. Here I'm using the pencil to line up my top dot with my bottom, and I'm very lightly connecting those dots. I pressed so lightly that it's actually hard to see the grid from the camera. However, when I was in person looking at the sheet of paper, it was visible. You should notice that on the longer side of your paper, you are able to connect 3 lines from top to bottom. Now it's time to measure the shorter side of the paper. This is only 12 inches long, so I can only mark at the 4" and the 8" measurements. I am going to make these measurements in 3 places: at the top, in the middle, and at the bottom. This will help me connect the lines and keep them straight, as my ruler is not the full 16 inches long. After I make all the measurements, I lightly connect the dots from the middle to the bottom, and then again from the top to the middle. This ensures that the long lines that I've made will be straight. If I have created my grid correctly, the short side should have 3 boxes and the long side should have 4 boxes. Make sure that you position your paper in the same orientation as your image. If your image is landscape, make sure that the longer sides are at top and bottom. If your image is portrait, make sure that the shorter sides are at the top and bottom.